up your own word. You can make up your own word.
That's what I love about it.
Was the role playing or the live of conflict and conflict resolution in its prime.
Yep.
Like you could not when you so maybe unscripted, like as you started talking, I kind of knew where the question was going because we've been hanging out for a minute. You start to know like where people are going. You can feel people out. But that conflict, and it was that, and I'm saying it as that because conflict is so healthy. I think we shy away from it because we're like, okay, well, what do I do in this space? And we often on the show agree and disagree, right? And
All the time.
That's the beauty of it.
All the time.
See it in the flesh, and the transformation of people who, by the time they got to the mic, whatever they were going to say changed. I don't know if you guys picked that up. So it was cool. It was cool.
I just want to just put this out there that Sister Gloria said, y'all can't take my pastor every weekend.
Yeah, no.
Forget about it.
We might have to. I saw the take Sister Dulcie, our mother on the road.
Here go the spirit right here, Sister Green.
I love Sister Green.
Let me tell you something. Not only do I love Sister Green, I love Brother Green.
Man.
He came up to me after. He said, "Brother, I owe you an apology." I said, "For what? For what? You owe me nothing."
Them folk too humble. Them too humble.
I just embraced my man, and it just felt it felt like I was hugging my dad or like my grandfather, and I was just like, for this, I don't even need to say pause. It felt good to hug that man. There's something on him. I don't know what it is, and I was like, "You don't owe me jack. If anything, I owe you something."
Yo, listen. When you have some
thing where I don't like to eat before I do anything, like what we were doing, so I didn't eat a lot on Sunday morning. But my auntie, she's Auntie Green to me. She could be sister to y'all, but she made me a plate to take.
Praise God. Praise God.
In that, pause. Our brother is in the waiting room too.
I see him. He can wait. He can sit and wait for a second. He can wait with his fat beard. I see him. He can wait. He can wait.
I'm not, you know what I'm saying, Terry? I'm not telling him to make you wait. Bring him in here right now. Right now.
All righty then.
Listen, as we begin, I want to just share with everyone that we were blessed. Hold on. Somebody, what you eating? For real.
Hey, Dad.
Gosh,
what's up, family?
No, the question is, what are you eating? Because
dried cantaloupe.
I want to thank you for switching from the edibles to dried cantaloupe. All right, let's go, y'all. Let's go.
I can't. I'm so done.
Don't thank me. Don't thank me. The night is young.
Yo, listen, y'all. Remember there were some questions that came out on Sabbath. Yeah. For those who may not know, this Sade, I believe, set up the QR code. And just people were just sending their questions, but we weren't able to deal with all of them. But I think one of the biggest level of contention that did come out, or I should say that something that was talked over and over about, had to do with how men see women, how women see men, and this mindset of dress control, this mindset of what ought to be. Now, I'm gonna share something with you. I was talking to a friend of mine today that was not there, that spoke to a friend of hers that was there. And she was the person that was telling me everything that was going on through the 2 days. She was accurate. Okay. Which means that it's good to see. It's good that when the message, let's pause. Hey, girl, next one, Leah. Next one, Leah. All right, there we go. Yep. What's so beautiful about it is that when the conversations continue, when everybody's at their home now.
Yes.
So I want to share this with everyone just really quickly. And I'm going to ask you, while we do this, if everyone can take the time out and just share this with. I heard I heard somebody say, it was Leah that said this. I want you to share this with 5 to 10 people right now. Just take a moment right now. If you enjoyed the weekend, if you want to know what it's all about and what we do every Monday, take the time out to share this with others. We don't have all the answers, but what we have is each other. Let me say it again. We don't have all the answers, but what we have is each other. And so what I'm going to ask you to do now is just take the time out and go ahead and share it with others. Share it with others. And let them know that, hey, something is happening here. Let them know something is happening here. And say, oh, look at this. Yeah, I know I almost got licks. All right, here we go by Sade, right? All right, here we go.
P, I would be remiss if I did not shout out Hugh and his wife and their entire family.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Saturday night, they laid it out.
Yes.
They laid it out. And so I want to say thank you to them and their household for welcoming us, man. And I want to tell Sade that I will never go eating with Sade anywhere because the two of us together eating is not a good thing. Anyway, as you were saying,
I wouldn't sit with Sade or with Des in any church setting. Any
Des definitely not. She gonna get all of us kicked out.
That's right. That's right, for sure. So here's the question that came out.
And do.
So here's the question that came out right here, and in this question, it was asked, why is it that the standard seems to always be dictated by men and then put on women? Are the men ever spoken to about their mindset to women? Do men have standards of dressing? I just want to share that. Just think, let it mull over. Let it mull for a second. That was one of the questions. Let it mull over a second. I'm going to keep it up there for a second, Sade, because I can see you in the green room and your arms are folded. But let's look at it again. Why is it that the standard seems to always be dictated by men and then put on women? Are the men ever spoken to about their mindset to women? Do the men have standards of dressing? Let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk.
What is the standard first?
What is the standard first?
Yep.
A moving goalpost.
That's it.
You said a moving goalpost?
Sure did. I think Dr. P hit on this when we were speaking on Sabbath for a different reason. But he said the Bible is a very patriarchal book. So when we're deriving certain things, it comes off a certain way. Men get to set certain standards for certain things versus checking themselves and why certain things are a problem for them and where the root of the problem really is. The fact that a woman can be sexualized or sexually assaulted and a question of, well, what was she wearing? Well, what did she do? Follows is a huge problem in the sense of there's no responsibility for the person who committed the action. I'm not a raper. She made me. If it wasn't for what she had on, I wouldn't have done.
But is that what the standard is, though? Because when I look at standard from a biblical perspective, in our country, we have the judicial, the executive, and the legislative branch.
Which country? Which country?
In this, I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. Let me just say that.
All right, I just wanted to check. Okay,
yeah, this is what it's supposed to be. It doesn't resemble that right now.
No, wait. You said in our country. He trying to tell you to say his country.
Oh, my bad.
Because he said which
and I rock with him because my country is down in the Caribbean, but that's a whole nother hookup, right? But for the purposes of those three departments is to put checks and balances on one another, right? When God looked at Adam and said, it's not good that man should be alone, I will create for him a suitable helpmeet. His purpose was to be the covering. Sade spoke a little bit about it, and her purpose was to be the helpmeet, right? Now, the helpmeet has a unique and very specific role because I believe that the two are put in place the same way that you have executive, legislative, and is it judicial? What's the third one? Judicial. Right. So he's a covering, But when he starts making moves that are not in alignment with what God says that he's supposed to do, that help me is supposed to be like, hey, bruh, that's not what God told us to do. And you're about to go, you understand? And whenever she's in a position where she's doing it, ma'am, hello, as you're covering, I'm asking that you would please move back into position, right? There's a checks and balances thing. I think what ends up happening is we have got in it misconstrued as to what it means to be covering or priest of home or head of household and what it means to be a helpmeet. So when I look at the standard again, I'm like, please help me understand what is the standard.
But there are two separate things. Hey sis, you're straying from God. Then you're making me stray from God because of what that's different.
But if I'm that's the thing again. Once again, if I'm following God the way that I should be, then it shouldn't be an issue for me to say to my hey, because she knows based upon not what I say, but how I live my life, that he is a man following God. So if he sees that I'm doing X, Y, and Z because of who I know him to be in respect to God, then I'm just gonna fall back in line. But she also has, because we ain't perfect. Abraham, let's we can talk about Abraham, we can talk about David, we can talk about Joseph, we can talk about number. There's some moves that they made. They made some moves where they were just like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Abraham lied, told my man that it was his sister and not his wife, and almost got his tail in trouble. And he was like, listen, both of y'all get up out of Dodge, right? So there's some moves. I think she should have been like, no, we're not going to lie to him.
Okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Sade, and I'm going to you, Armina. Go ahead.
So I think this question is talking about standard in dress, right?
Right.
Why is the standard dictated by men and then applied to women? I think we have to understand that our standards are based off of our cultural upbringings and what we believe to be true. Right? There are Christians who believe that women should not wear pants. Right? There are Christians that believe that women should cover their heads when they pray. These are all cultural differences, right? So what I believe to be true when it comes to standards of dress, because this is what the question is pertaining to, I think one of the things that happens, especially y'all know I only can talk as a single woman, the man feels like he's the one that gets to choose if he wants to marry me, not I get to choose if I want to marry him. So he is to set the standard for the relationship, right? You have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And I'm just supposed to say, if I want to be with him, I have to do this. We all talk about conversations, right? And so if two people are coming together, we have to decide what our standard is. When it comes to dressing and the church, though, right? I don't think there's a standard, but it gets very confused with people's opinions.
Okay. And I want you to share what's on your mind, Armina, and then I'm going to come back to you for a second.
I need to speak on that too when she's done.
Go ahead, Armina.
So I have a lot of thoughts, but I'm going to start with, I forget who said interpretations, right? So this has a lot to do with interpretation and gender roles.
Okay.
And we have scripture to back us up, because there's scripture in the Bible that talks about gender roles, which sort of kind of stems from these scripture. And I can think of three. There's Ephesians, 1 Timothy, and one in Proverbs, right? Then there's this double standard in purity and morality, right? And so when you start talking about Christian communities that frequently want to hold women to a stricter standard, especially in the areas of modesty and purity, sexual ethics, like those are things, leadership and authority, those are things that those double standards apply to. Sade talked about, the history and culture influences of this. But the other thing that I want to ask, and we, don't answer it right now, and we will as we go through this, is the real question is who benefits from the standards?
Well, okay. Well, hold on a second. Go ahead. Go ahead. TP.
You're stuttering.
So
I'm stuttering. I got something to say, and I'm giving everybody a chance.
Okay, so the whole thing about dress. let me say this. When people talk about a standard, why do men make the standard and give it to women? If we looking, if we reading the scripture, that's what we're going by. Man's supposed to be the priest of the household, right? God chose man. He didn't choose women, right? Okay, so man, this is what
I didn't even hear any rights. Wait. You said right, and no one said anything.
That's fine. I get it, but I know why they're not saying that. So
fix your face, guys.
Here's the thing: when you operate, and I don't know if they heard or not, but what I'm saying is this. Okay, it's been that way. You decided to join. Sade said something about, he chooses to marry you, but you don't have a choice. Yes, you do. You can say no. Okay, no, I don't want to marry you. Here's the other thing. I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated. Okay, there are some standards that they have. If I don't want to follow them, then I don't have to join. If you join this organization and they have standards and you don't want to follow them, then leave. Here's my point in that. I get so tired of the dress thing. You know how to dress when you go out. Half of what I've seen is women coming to church, even guys coming to church wearing stuff like they're going to a club. But when they go to work, they dress appropriately for that job.
Okay.
This is why uniforms are instituted, so that way we don't have a question about. So when people complain about, why can't I wear this? Why can't I wear that? Well, what the standard says is this. And if you don't want to adhere to that, then move on down the road to some place that will allow you to do that.
Okay.
Stop trying to change the standard of something that you join. I can't change. You see what I'm saying? I can't change stuff in Kappa Alpha Psi that's been around since 1903. Now, I thought it was 1911. Yeah, we were, but it came in 1903 if you know your history. And so what I'm saying is there's some things I can't, it's the bylaws. This is the way things are done, and it's for a purpose.
Okay.
I don't know if you agree with me or not. I'm saying you decided to join this. There were standards. There was standard key. There was the Sabbath. There was this. There was that. And if you don't want to be a part of that, then move on. How can you try to change that? I get tired of hearing that. I do.
Okay, so Terry, it sounds like you're very passionate about that.
Yeah, very, very, very passionate.
I acknowledge that. But one of the things that go ahead, sis. Go ahead, baby.
Can you show me the dress code for the Seventh-day Adventist Church?
Or where it says the priest of the home.
Show me the dress code for the Seventh-day Adventist Church or any other church. Show me the dress code.
Okay, you can pull a doctrine. You can pull a doctrine for that.
Hold on.
You get the doctrine for that. If you don't have that book, go to ABC Bookstore, as we call it.
Terry got a book
in Bible House and get it. Okay, and
they still got book in Bible House.
But
okay, let's pause.
Hold on. You're an educator. You gonna wear something down here to a parent-teacher conference with all your stuff showing out? You probably wouldn't, because it's not appropriate to do it. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that you need to cover up so men don't be thinking something. I'm saying this is a house of prayer for all people. This is how you know how to dress when you go certain places. That's all I'm saying. I get tired of guys coming to church with tight pants on, and I can see how much change he got in his pocket.
20 seconds. 20 seconds.
Okay.
20 seconds.
I ain't got nothing to say. I want to move on. All
right, 20 seconds. 20 seconds. I don't.
No.
Armina, go ahead. Let's pause. Armina, go ahead and let's go.
Ultimately, the more Christ first. Okay, let me just say this first. Let's not get caught up in dress, because we will lose the whole point, right? this thing that we're talking about, the standards that we're talking about, is bigger than what we are wearing, what we're not wearing. So that part of the conversation is good. But ultimately, the more Christ-centered approach would prioritize justice, love, equality, rather than reinforcing human-made hierarchies, right? Think about it. Jesus himself broke societal norms regarding women. He was teaching them directly. And if you don't remember, talk about Mary and Martha. He was engaging them in theologically discussions, the woman at the well, and he was elevating their testimonies. Mary Magdalene, who was the first to witness his resurrection. So when we're talking about standards and we're talking about the expectations for men, there should be standards for women. There should be standards for all Christians. I think the way the question is written is that the women, we always feel it. I don't know. And maybe the guys can tell us, what standards do you feel at the same level or emotionally like the women do?
So
go ahead, Quest.
So here's the thing with the standard of dress, right? Some say, why do men set the standard, or whatever the case may be? We have things to show, but we don't have things to show like y'all have things to show. Let's just be honest.
Is it our fault?
No, it's not your fault. I'm not saying God.
But that's a man's
hold on a second. Let me cook for a minute, right? It's not your fault, right? But it doesn't take away from the fact that I think I said this on the panel on Sabbath, that we're very visual. This is the way that God made us. It's difficult within the walls of a church or within a spiritual setting for me to have a conversation with you if I'm talking with you and your joint is down here and the cleavage is out. I'm looking you in your face, but because I'm a visual individual, and see, this is the hard thing for women to understand. We're wired a particular way. Things catch our eye very quickly, right? And so it's funny because I like the analogy that TP used a while ago. If you like for Sade, if she was I know who she is as an individual, she would never go to a parent teachers conference or teach in a classroom with a skirt that's too tight that's showing.
But she going there with red lips though.
It's all right.
Go ahead though. Go ahead.
Lipstick is nice. It's nice. You know what I'm saying? It's nice, right? I will agree that there's a way there's a time and a place for everything under the sun. I just believe that when you're coming into the house of God, right? When you're going to different events, you want to be sexy. I get it. I know what it means for a woman to want to feel sexy and want to feel, you know what I'm saying? I get it, right? But there's a thing called sexy and there's a thing called tasteful, right? Not to the point now y'all seen some chicks walk into some places and you like, what in the devil is that? My father used to say that there's only one thing that doo-doo attracts, and that's flies. So when you dress a particular way, like when we used to go to a club and dudes used to push up on chicks and they used to look at them like you crazy, like you definitely don't have on the businesswoman attire, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you attract certain things, whether we want to accept that or swallow that or not. We have to be mindful. Men have to be mindful the same way. This whole gray jogging pants thing that, you know what I'm saying? That look at Desiree, like for real, when we walk into certain places and spaces, you know, you can't put that stuff on because it's going to attract something. Now, when you get what you get based upon how you dress, can we really be mad at what we attracted?
Okay, hold on. So, what I have to say this. You are saying that I'm not going to address that first. A standard, yes, there is a standard. How there should be a standard, yes. However, when you are part of the Adventist church and you are modeling modesty based on what Christ has put in your heart and who you want to be in Christ, other people will follow. Adventists do a thing with this checkbox. If it looks right, then it is right. Rather, it is right. The biggest hoes in church have the longest skirts. And y'all be up here looking at the girls that have the cleavage showing or have the short skirts. And and it's been going down under so-and-so's long skirt. So that's one of the biggest issues when it's like, oh, we're following the standards, check, but the heart is not right. If we model correctly, the dress will follow. Christ didn't talk about dress in the Bible. That's Ellen White.
Where's the sanctification
And
process?
then, and also this man being the priest of the home thing, there is no biblical, Pastor Graham, there is no biblical text. It says the man's the priest of the home. We put some things on men that's not their stuff. They have a duty to follow God and to lead. Priesthood belongs to what group of people? And we have to be very careful when we put that on them.
Can I say
y'all are scared. Y'all scaring me a little bit. Hold on, everybody. Just give me a second for us. Let me see. When you look at the question, right? I think we go back to what's her name's question. I'm going all the way up to Antoinette. Antoinette asked the question earlier: who sets the standards? And I think that we can go. I'm gonna tell you right now, right? We can go on this over and over again on the issue. The problem is who sets the standards, right? And let me share something with you all. I believe that men set the standards. Just stay with me, right? And women agree to the standards, but I'm going to say this, but men don't have the right to set a standard. They have the right to be the standard. Okay. And this is where I believe the mistake has come in. See, I had to look and think about this thing because Sade, let's be straight, right? We all got to learn, right? We all got to learn. I am stuck in the 1990s, right? I am stuck in the 1990s. No, girl, I'm stuck in the 1990s. That's when I started pastoring. And I'm going to be clear, right? Life has changed as a pastor and in church since then. Okay. Suits, nobody's doing suits anymore, right? Ties, nobody's doing ties anymore. Women can wear pants in church. Women can wear pants on the pulpit right now. I didn't grow up seeing that. And one of the reasons why we put a dress code on women, and we did, and I'm going to tell you what it is. We put a dress code on women is because women were saying to men that you can't control yourself. So there was not a respect to God. That's the underlying factor. The underlying factor is no respect to God. But that's not the real reason. The real reason is when you come in church, if a guy is seeing you and he's seeing all your stuff, or he see you with a skirt on, or this, that, and the other, he's gonna waver. That's not really fair. I'm gonna tell you that it's really not fair, right? But here it is. But there's still got to be some level of a standard. The problem is that our standard moves from here to you said it, Des. It's a moving goalpost. Okay. And I'm going to say this. I'm still that guy. I am still that guy that likes to wear suits to church. I'm still that guy that has a problem with praise team leaders as men with bulges in their pants. Right. I'm still that guy that would rather you not sit in the front with your cleavage showing. Watch this now. But what I have become is that guy that says, I know I'm human, but there's got to be a point in time when we become superhuman for Christ. And that means the stuff that I like, I gotta go past that for the him that I love. But I'm gonna tell you, I've pastored before in churches where it was tough. It just really was tough. And I want to ask the question to the ladies: what do you think the standard for dress should be?
Can I before we go there, real quick?
Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
Let me say this.
And I need you to say that I learned a little something this weekend, Sade. I need you to say that.
So listen, y'all.
I need you to say, Sade, that I learned something this weekend.
I did. I learned.
I know. I said I learned.
You definitely learned.
Okay, go ahead now. You can speak.
But let me say this. I think what my issue is, and again, we talked about triggers all weekend, right? What triggers me is that we are so focused as people on what people are wearing, what's the standard for that, but we're not holding people to a moral standard. You can be shacking up. You can be shacking up and come to church as long as you look right. It's okay. Because here's the thing. We don't know where people are in their walk with Christ. This girl that looked like she just left the club, maybe she did, but she left and came to church. What my thought should be is, Lord, change her heart. change her mind to where she looks like how you want her to look. That's not my job. That's not my responsibility. What my responsibility is to stand in that gap. If I see my brother or sister is lacking, right? My role is to say, hey, Lord, convict them of whatever they need to be convicted of. There was one point in time you could not catch me wearing jewelry in the Adventist church because I was told it was just the worst thing to do. It's horrible. We couldn't even wear wedding rings. We buying each other watches.
Yeah, you a new Adventist though. You're new and polished Adventist.
The thing is, are you telling me that when I get to heaven, God is going to tell me, Sade, you did everything right? But that skirt you wore the second Sabbath in June of 2026, that part. The part from me, I know you not. We have to stop being so concerned with the outward appearance that it makes us distracted from what God is really trying to do in the lives of people. Yes, there should. I believe in a standard. I believe that when I come to church, I know I have curves. So I'm very cautious of what I wear. Not
you
because
are.
I want to distract somebody. I want to respect myself. Right? That's the same thing about me. So we have to stop being so caught up in what people look like and how they come to church. And if that's an angst for you, pray for them.
I'm gonna come to you, Des. Doc, go ahead real quick.
You said ladies. You want to hear from the ladies. That's what you said.
Hold on, let them talk.
Okay.
I see we at the bottom.
Armina, keep them on track. Armina, you usually keep them on track.
They're the standard.
Y'all do see how we're on the bottom, right? So
well, I didn't
start from the bottom. Now we here. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm gonna get ready. Go ahead.
All right. So, I think it was.
I just want to share this. I did it purposely, and no one noticed until just now.
I noticed it, but I always noticed it, so I didn't say anything. I noticed it from the jump. Sorry, TP.
Go ahead, boss. Go ahead, boss.
Puffing and puffing over there, man. Come on, come close. Let's hear from you. Let's go.
He put the cane down and everything.
Yeah, come on, Santa. Come on, Santa.
No, I really don't care what you wear. I don't. What I'm saying is, if we have a discussion about it, absolutely. If you wear a turtleneck, I'm gonna be oogling it. You wear one, anybody wear one, I'm gonna look at it. Okay, that's what I like. I said I like the lumps in it. But let me go ahead and say this, okay? Husbands are the priests of their home. Ephesians 5:23, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, his body, and is himself its savior. 1 Timothy 5:8, but if anyone does not provide for his relative, and especially for members of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. 1 Peter 3:7, likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. 1 Timothy 3:5, I can go on.
You ain't say priest, but so keep going.
I can go on. And what I'm saying is yes, he is the priest of. It goes through on and on and on, scripture after scripture about how the man should be. This is what he should do in his household. He is the priest of the household. Now, that may be a term that somebody pulled up or whatever the case may be, but my thing is this. He was filthy, let him be filthy still. He was righteous, let him be righteous still. If you want to do that, do that. If you don't, then don't. It doesn't matter. Look, dress and all of that, that's an old SDA conversation. If you
right,
that's true. I have from the cradle, okay, we've been talking about that since the beginning. That's another, whatever you're going to wear, you're going to wear. The church has totally changed since I was a kid. You see what I'm saying? Since I was a kid. You come, somebody put up there like, what about come as you are? If you know better, you do better. If you got clothes in your closet that you know is not appropriate to wear, then why would you do that? Now, if somebody off the street, let me tell you what they used to do at my church, and they probably still do. If somebody wore something to church, like you'll see a family come in, they appropriate, they will go right to the clothing room and get them folks some clothes. You see what I'm saying? And just say, hey, we want you to feel comfortable. We want you to feel welcome here and not, feel like out of place or whatever the case may be. But if you know better and you have something, why would you put on? What would make you put on something, you see what I'm saying, that you know is inappropriate? Some of the stuff that these women wear to church, you wouldn't wear that anywhere else. Some of the stuff that men wear, I get tired of seeing them suits. I'm like, bro, what's your blood pressure? Because I know you can check it as tight as them pants are. It makes no sense.
Hey, Paul.
Why are we arguing about this? That's never going to change.
Nope.
This is standard. If you flew on the airline, whatever airline, Q, you flew Delta, right? Anybody in there that didn't have on a Delta uniform?
No, sir.
It was a uniform, right?
Yes, sir.
If you flew Southwest, they had on a uniform. If you flew with they had on a uniform. There's a certain uniformity. There's a certain modesty that you're supposed to be in. It talks about it all throughout the Bible. Stop making it an SDA thing. And I'm not the one here championing the cause of the SDA church. I'm saying this is not just germane to the SDA church. Just like church hurt ain't just germane to the SDA church.
I just want to say shouts out to Pee Wee. Be careful, Didi's watching.
Didi's watching. That's right, Didi's watching. I'm going to do very quickly, Des. Very quickly, Des, and then Armina, and then I want to pull this together because we got another question coming up. Go ahead.
This is crazy.
Reclaiming my time.
Yes. Reclaiming my time.
Yes.
Reclaiming your time.
Yes.
So So
and then Armina, please.
Unlike Delta and our jobs and whatever else, we have free will. This is not a job. This is not some paid occupation or the case is. We have free will. Unfortunately, if God made us do stuff, we'd be better off. But we have free will. If we focused on raising the Josephs, the Potiphar wives would stop. We have women who do come to church dressed a certain way because they are looking for certain things. We know this. But if these men are Josephs, there's no reason to keep wearing stuff like this. Because instead of focusing on the woman not being Potiphar's wife, we focus on the men becoming Joseph. The other women that may not dress appropriately, they really may not know. When I moved to New York, my sister has always been at least 4 inches taller than me. I was always a tomboy. I was chunky. For some reason, somehow, I went through puberty, and in 1 month, I lost almost 40 pounds, got double D's, and looked crazy. All I could wear was my sister's clothes. She is built like this. I wasn't built like that. So I go to church looking like what y'all talking about, and I feel insecure as a mug. We don't got no money for a whole new wardrobe. I can't wear the stuff I wore 40 pounds ago 1 month ago. And the stairs and the room, I am 13. And they treated me like I was some career mistress.
Yeah, but at that time, it's not your problem at that point.
No. But they made my
it's the lust issue then at that point.
Yeah, but
it
didn't matter. When I walked up
and project like it's your problem.
But it doesn't matter the age. The fact that any woman is threatened by a 13-year-old is a huge problem. The fact that any man is looking at a 13-year-old is a huge problem. And that was how I was treated. And they had no idea. And they're like, oh, they know better. I know her mother. I know her why is she dressed like this? We ain't have it. I didn't know my body was going to change like that. I didn't know that these going to be my only options. And it was one lady who came and sat next to me. And she said, girl, if I still had the body that I had back then, I would wear stuff like this too. And she gave me a nice shawl and just put it over my legs. I was so grateful.
Let's look at who is that? Who's talking?
Sade.
Go ahead, Sade, because I want to read what Emmy had to say. Go ahead.
I think the thing that's bothering me is that we're spending so much time talking about what people wear and how we should respond to how people wear. But when we have people in leadership who are having affairs, when we have people who are drinking themselves sick, but come to church showing up right, they're okay. And we're not, and what I'm saying is we are spending time on things that Jesus himself
would not spend time on. Am I correct?
Worried about our hearts.
Sade, let me share something with you, Sade. I'm going to cut you off for a second because I like what you said, right? I think one of the craziest things is that we get questions sometimes, right, where we see things differently, but we end off on the same level, right? We end up at the same place. And one of the things, yes, she's right. Yes, that part, Sade. Okay. It is really important to understand that we all in this group here believe that if you know better, do better.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. But we also believe that there are many. This was, remember, the person that wrote the question. We don't know who sets the standards. We think we know who set the standards because what I'm looking at right now is I already know that men set the standard. But I'm going to share something with you, I'm hoping you all would agree. When a standard is not set, then there's a free for all to do what you want to do without a level of accountability. Okay, I want to be clear about that. And I'm going to give you one clear example. It's communion time. I asked for communion to look a certain way, for everyone to dress a certain way for communion. For the other weeks, I don't bother anybody else of what you wear to church, nothing at all. But for communion, this is what I ask. And when a sister says to me, I'm not wearing that, and I say, then you can't serve. Or you understand where I'm coming from? Then all of a sudden, I become this guy that's, what's the big deal? Okay. And for me, it has nothing to do with whether your communion skirt was too high. I want everybody in white. I want all the men in black. I want so and so, whatever. And so what I'm saying is, I learned that from when I was growing up in church, and I like that. And so I set that as a standard. The problem for us today, I believe, is that women don't want for anyone to tell them how to dress, and men don't want anyone to tell them how to dress. Nobody wants anyone to, no, I'm telling you, nobody wants anyone to tell. I'm saying this right because it's not
that, because I don't want nobody
right,
telling me I gotta
right,
wear
right. I'm going to tell you why. I got a text right on Sunday that said, "How dare those two men wear hats on the rostrum on Sabbath?" Okay, I'm just telling you what I received. That had nothing to do with sexuality. That had nothing to do with them showing their pecs. That had nothing to do with them showing their groin or this, that, and the other. What it had to do with people being uncomfortable with other people who don't look like them. That's or a standard that they set before. And I want to just be clear that even though we have this mindset, I do believe some things that Terry is saying. But on the flip side, we are afraid that people will not join a church that has a standard of dress. So we open up the floodgates. I'm speaking about that as a pastor. People have a problem with individuals saying this is the dress code. And the reason why we set the dress code is because people don't know how to dress appropriately. That's why a dress code is set, because people don't know how to dress appropriately. And
Things will
that's
take care of
it.
themselves.
So let me ask this then.
I believe that. I believe that. Yes, I believe that.
Heart to take care of himself.
But that's what I'm well, one of the things I'm leaning to. I think we focus more on the fruit than the root.
You're right again.
What I'm saying?
You're right again.
I think that if we would focus more on teaching people how to have a relationship with Christ, that he will take care of what needs to be taken care of. Because I'm having this conversation, but I'm having it because it's the topic of conversation that we're having as Unscripted tonight. But at the root of it all, too many times we pay attention, like I said, to the fruit and not the root. You don't plant apple seeds and get an orange tree. You want people at the foundation to have a solid relationship with Christ, right? And then everything else that is supposed to, the text is very clear. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then all these things will be added unto you, how to dress included, right? Because when you're saying that I am yielding my life to the sovereignty of God, right? And over every aspect of my life. And as I grow in him, I grow in all the other areas as well. And I think that's what it is at the end of the day. And too many times we're focusing on the fruit because of our response to the fruit, if that makes sense. I think we should move to the next question. That's just me.
I second that.
How do you trust?
I want to land the plane. No, I want to land the plane on this because this is where we are, right? I think it's really important to understand that. Oh, here she goes. Because somebody said Armina looks perplexed. Let me say this, right?
Y'all.
I'm gonna say this, right? It is really important to understand that we can't answer the questions, but you're gonna get our views. And I'm gonna say this: that I think that being a pastor in '93, being a pastor in 2025, I'm spiritually schizophrenic. I am. I've been taught this is what you wear to church. I've been taught, and let me tell you something. I got sandblasted by Sade, but I'm gonna tell you the honest truth. I've been taught that that it is the pastor's responsibility to make sure that this is how the women are dressed in church, and this is how the men present themselves in church, and this is how you sit, and this is how you stand. Now I come to a place now where everyone wants to just come together and hang out in church, so to speak, wear what they want to wear in church and what have you. And when that happens, which there's nothing wrong with it, when that happens, it's harder to set a standard when everything seems to be so helter-skelter. I
have a question for you, if you can answer it on here. When the person did call you and asked you, how did you allow those men to have the hats on the podium? On the podium, what was your response?
Oh, I didn't have an issue with it. That was my response. I didn't have an issue with it.
Okay.
Right.
No, I was just wondering how, if someone was listening that may need that counsel on how to respond to something like that. I was
see, my issue is that I would have had an issue with it. I'm going to say 5 years ago. I would have had an issue with it about 3 years ago. The truth of the matter is sometimes it's good when you get to pastor different individuals and you get to pastor different areas. There's a difference. There's a difference between pastoring in Bowie and pastoring in DC. I'm just saying, if you're bringing on the community, I think that if more individuals saw two men up there with hats on, talking their language and speaking their language, it's an attraction. Do you understand where I'm coming from? But if I go to a community where no one is wearing suits because no one can afford suits in my church, and I plant a church there, there's no reason for everybody to have suits on, because then you're conforming instead of being converted.
So what's
to a European mindset? Because that's not our stuff, the suits.
I say we go to the next question, because you just proved that there is no standard. Let's just.
Well, that's what I've been saying. I've been saying that there is no standard.
For men.
So to answer the question, then P, who sets the standard? You set the standard for yourself. I think a lot of the times we focus on too much on what other people doing, and we lose sight of who we are and what we doing.
Look, I'm going to say it this way, right? Because if we go to this next question, we'll never end on this next question. We won't end. But what I do believe, though, is what happened to us before, what happened to individuals before, what I've seen is the fact that there are individuals that many women feel that men make the standards, men make the rules, and women are saying it's not fair. Simple and plain. Women, that sounded good. Women make the men make the rules so much that it's harder for women even to still preach on the pulpit, because men make the rules. Okay. And so who sets the standard in the Seventh-day Adventist church? Can I tell you? I'm going to say the Adventist church. I'm not talking about any Christian churches. Men set the standard, right? But just because men set the rules. That's it. But the standard needs to be set by individuals in their relationship with God. You see, is your hand up, Armina?
Yes.
Go ahead.
We're moving on, right?
Nah.
Okay.
P, we need to let this one go, bro.
No, listen. Hold on a second. All the questions on here these questions that's coming up here. Okay, my wife said I thought you were moving on.
Go ahead, Armina. Go ahead, Armina.
No, because it was about this, and we're moving on. I'll just say this.
Last point.
When I hear this, what I think about is body shaming. When I hear this, I think about how did Jesus treat women? Because he's the ultimate guide that we follow. And he was an advocate for women. Like, I don't even see that this is what he would be doing in his day. So I think we can agree, right, that these are man-made standards that we put together. And, interesting how the word is man-made. And sometimes we say man-made when we also say women too, because there are some women who actually put a stamp on this standard. So if it's introduced by the man, there may be some women who put the stamp on it. So I just wanted to say, I think about body shaming when this standard comes up each and every time.
P, what does the text say, P?
This one?
No, the one in Micah 6:8. What does it say? Let me just put a bow on it. What does Micah 6:8 say?
I have shown the old man what is good. That one?
Yep, that's it. What does it say?
And what pleases God to walk humbly. Well, hold up. Let me look at that.
Told you, oh man, what is good, right?
Right.
And what does the Lord require of you?
Right.
Let's just nip this all in the butt right here. What does he require of you? To do justice.
To mind thy business. 3 Nicolaitans 6:4.
To do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. Now, that's not for me to judge for you. Is that you? Is that you, P? I hear your organ.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. This is not for nobody else to judge what God has required of you. Do me a favor. Just do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly before your God. Simple.
Okay. Let me say this. We're gonna go to this. We're gonna go to this, which is kind of maybe the same thing. Hold on a second.
But you skipped the other question.
There's like 5 or 6.
It's at 5. It's at 5. And let's close up on this one right here, because it's almost the same thing, and it helps along the way. Here we go. All this focus on outer appearance, because this is another one. This is 2 different ones, but where is the discipleship that teaches people how to have an intimate relationship with God? True transformation comes from knowing God through his word, not just changing how someone dresses, but renewing their mindset, which transforms everything.
I just said it.
Okay.
Let me say this. And I say this with 100%, like 100% faith in what I'm about to say.
Mm-hmm.
I would be an excellent wife to whomever I marry if I was at your church sitting under Sister Green. Let me tell you why. But no, because it answers the question. It answers the question. I know for a fact that if I were to sit at her table on a consistent basis, the way she would disciple me as a woman, a young woman who strives to one day be a wife, strives to one day be someone who's, just in all the things, I think our church is missing the point of, like we said yesterday, community. All of these things that are popping up, appearance and this, and this, we have to start building villages within our village.
You're right, and let me say this too. That is the answer really to the question, right? Because what we've heard tonight was a lot of our own bias. Right, that's what we've heard tonight. A lot of our own bias, our own issues, our own stuff. Let's hear from just before you go, Des. Let's hear from what someone says. What Emmy says. She says, "I didn't join the SDA church because of what's in my closet or what's not. I joined because of its focus on teaching and my desire to grow in modesty, as I believe that's what God is calling me to do. I find myself ordering new clothes every couple of weeks because my previous wardrobe didn't reflect how I wish to present myself as a God-fearing woman and as someone who respects the values of both my faith and the man I stand beside." Now, I want to say this, right? that is, I'm going to say this, Armina, that's what you've been saying all along. You understand?
It's your birthday.
And I think the mistake that Paul Graham makes on a consistent basis is, and this is why I said it, I don't know if you were there, that this church that I pastor at right now opened my eyes to community. All right. But I got a long way to go. I kid you not. I had got a long way to go because of how I've been trained. And please, I don't want no one to say, oh, Graham, it's because you're not close to God or because you're not so-and-so, whatever. I want to be clear that I want to learn as we move, as we go along. So when you see statements like that, or you see statements such as what, that, that she's trying to be where God wants her to be, I feel, Sade, especially what we talked about Sabbath, that if all I got to do is preach and teach and love, it may not even drop off. Then my goal is not for people to begin looking like me or look like this person. But what you just said in Sister Green, I see that. I'm going to share something with you. I see that in Sister Gloria. I can keep going on the older, the seasoned women, right, and the seasoned men in my church that would say to me, Graham, I know you 54. I know you got 30-something years in ministry. Can I talk to you right here for a second? Right. Are you understand where I'm coming from? And it's better for someone who loves someone else to say, can I talk to you about how you may look today? You understand where I'm coming from? Can I talk to you about so-and-so? Or love them so much that they may not even say that. They just keep discipling them. But part of discipling is recognizing that people do need to change.
Yeah.
Okay. And no, I'm not married, she said. And no, I'm not married. I'm gonna go to these two. All right, Des, and then Armina, and then oh snap, it's 10:23. Go ahead.
So I think Sade said something key, and I think it's very important to note. Sister Green did not come to Sade once on no advice tip. She did not come to her on no, hey sis, since you desire to be married and you said this, here's what you need to do. Hey sis, you could probably. It was none of that. Sade doesn't even know Miss Green from a can of paint. It was her obedience to Christ, her consistent relationship with Christ. It was her Christ all over her that you could see and that you could feel that made people say, I want that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that was, it was, I want to, whatever, however she got what she got, that's what I want to do. And if that looks like dressing like this, if that looks like honoring my husband in this way, if that looks like that, then that's what I mimic. But it wasn't a, hey, come here real quick. And we have to stop putting that on ourselves, that we think that we have that responsibility, or that we even have that ability to change anybody. We are supposed to live and be so Christ-like. People should see how we are and want what we have, and all we do is tell them how we got it.
Okay, before I go to Armina, I want to say this, Armina, and then I'm going to go to you, Doc, and then let's somehow land this plane. When I listen to everybody's discussion, everybody's argument, it's difficult for me. I don't think it's difficult for Quest, right? I don't think it's difficult for you, Sade. I don't think it's difficult for you, Armina. I really don't. Des, I don't think anything's too difficult. Anyway, right? What I recognize is, we talked about it Saturday night when all the cameras were off. Some people in this circle are institutionalized. Is everybody okay with that? I mean, if some people in this square box are institutionalized.
It's rectangle, but if you can't say ouch, yes, say
okay.
Ouch.
And let me share something with you before Armina and Doc. Someone from the church that you were at says, I appreciate them, those two individuals. They never make me feel like that they are judging me. They just make me feel loved, like I belong. That's somebody else. Okay. Someone also put this out there. This is from a church in Brooklyn. Your mom, my mom, so many mature sisters in the church set the standard by their example of love and encouragement. Wow. Okay. And then JoJo makes this comment. She says, the SDA church is notorious for baptism and winning souls, but unfortunately not great with discipleship. Okay. And I believe that what God is teaching us today, right? Our church today, churches today, society today, community today, that even though men are supposed to be biblically spiritual leaders, there are other leaders in women that can set the goals and the standard for our communities, for our families. You ever see a Jamaican man say to his wife, "Why my daughter look like that?" You know what I'm saying? Because he's trusting his wife to walk her, and to disciple her. Wow, that's the word, to disciple her. Well, hold on, Quest. Let me get the. Go ahead, Armina. Go ahead, Doc, and then Quest, and let's land this plane because I'm in trouble when I go upstairs. Go ahead.
So the concept of discipleship is fairly new to us.
It is.
We're just learning the concept of it. But even in all that we're talking about, the thing I didn't hear is that we need to have relationships with people. Without that, we're going to get a lot of hurt people, and we're going to get a lot of people who have resentment. Yes, there should be standards. There should be guidelines for everything we do in life, whether it's in the church, in the workplace, in my household, wherever. But there has to be a relationship with people.
Right. I got it.
So the reason why many of us, this is a trigger for us, is because the very people who try to impose those standards on us, we don't have relationships with.
Wow.
If I don't, I think Sade spoke to it a little bit on Saturday.
Wow.
Right? We talked about a church having like a church yellow pages of people you can go to. I can't go to you if I don't trust you as an individual, and that principle is the same for right here. Like, I'm not going to be able to connect with you if I don't trust who you are as an individual. She just said it. You know what I'm saying? This is the reason why you said it a while ago. Who sets the standard? I set the standard simply by allowing Christ to live. Okay, where is it? I believe it. What chapter is it in John where he's talking to, I think, two of the disciples, and he says to him, he says, the devil is coming and he findeth nothing in me.
Yeah.
Let us go, leave and go from this place, right? Yeah. Like, for real, you set the standard for who you are as an individual. We just said a while ago, Sister Green is a perfect standard. Elder Green is a perfect standard. There are a number of different women in the church who, because of their godly behavior, set the standard. They ain't checking nobody. They're just living their life. They said the best sermon that you ever preach is the one you live. Yeah. That's why I'm saying, what does God require of you? To walk justly, to do justice, walk humbly before. That's it. That's on you. You take care of you. Our problem is that, here's the thing, and I think it comes from the top down, because no organization can rise above its leadership. It's this idea of control. You can't control people.
Right.
You either teach them how to follow Christ and let that you plant that seed and let that manifest in their life. And whatever the changes are that you are wishing for them, it'll automatically happen.
Got it. Or how about this? Maybe the change needs to be with us before the change that way. Doc, go ahead real quick.
I think that, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, because I switched it to the chair. And maybe this has been said, but I think we don't have enough people that are modeling the appropriate behavior.
That part.
Wow.
We don't have enough people who are modeling what's appropriate. And then,
you know what, Terry? Enough people in leadership who are modeling the behavior.
Right. Because the leadership is jacked up and it flows downhill. You see what I'm saying? You have some people who are still hanging on to the old values. You have some people who are trying to pull in something new. And then you have people who are just wandering around waiting to attach to something that feels good to them. So when you don't have, leadership or the people that have been in this thing for a while modeling what's appropriate, you have that problem. I feel this way on all of this. The closer your relationship is with Christ, you will make the necessary changes that you need to make. Nobody has to tell you what to wear. Nobody got to tell you what to dress. If you get closer to, you'll be convicted in that and say, you know what? This ain't right. This is not pleasing in God's sight. This is not, I should not be doing this. The closer your walk is, it'll all unfold to you. But if you're not trying to get that walk, you don't need somebody at church, you know what I'm saying, telling you what a standard is, what to dress, or how to make moves and what to drink and what not to drink or whatever. You know, do what you're gonna do. But the closer you get to Christ, those things start to drop off from you. You know what I'm saying? When I was a child, I think as a child. I understood as a child. But now that I am what? Man, I put away childish things. I put away those things that are holding me and keeping me from. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of what happens is not just keeping you from Christ, it's keeping you from your goals in other areas of your life. We all know what to do. Like I said, we all know what to do. We all know what not to do. You know, if you get out there on that road and you got a suspended license or tag, you see what I'm saying? What's gonna happen? But you take care of that. We're arguing the wrong things. You know what I'm saying? We're arguing
it's true. It's true. And you know what? It's funny, right? Because what we've seen here among the six of us is, can you imagine a church of 300 who, think about it, it's six of us. Could you imagine a church of 300 with a different mindset, but with a leader or leaders that are not loving enough, but setting rules? And I say this all the time, and Wendy would say this also. One of the biggest problems we have is that we make rules and then make God liable for the rules we make. And then when we do that, we end up becoming, you know, I keep going back to us back in, we ain't leave that house till like what, 1 a.m. on Saturday. We're now looking like a cult. But here it is. But here it is, that it's up to the church today, the last day church today, to also change the culture. And the culture is changed by people like Sade, who was not born Seventh-day Adventist. Come on, right? Okay. People like like Des that needs to be baptized like 4 more times, right? We have people like yo, what I want us really what I want us to do is, before, as we land this plane, I'm gonna tell you what the story. Oh, go ahead, Des, and then I'm gonna bring us to this text.
I was trying to think, I'm glad you said text. I was trying to think of in the Bible, the only one that I know, there may be another time in the Bible where standard is mentioned. And when I think of it, it says, when the enemy came upon me like a flood, he will lift up a standard, right? So when I hear that word, I'm hearing a measure of protection from the enemy, right? So when we have a standard that we as humans implement, and we are saying that it's a protection from the enemy, and we are raggedy, hey baby, and we are raggedy, how do we know that our standard is correct or sufficient or can beat the enemy? We need to stop, pause, halt, cease and desist, thinking that we know what standard is that we need to put up. You had all those people in the house that met the standard, but only Mary Magdalene came in there and washed Jesus' feet with the oil that she got from doing what she was doing.
Okay.
Which I'm sure wasn't the standard.
Okay. And you know what I love about this? Let's land a plane on this, right? Because we went straight biblical tonight, church tonight, right? Let me be clear about this. There is an answer to this. You know, sometimes when we talk about this, that, and the other, and then we kind of leave this out there and leave that out. Stop smiling, Sade, and let me finish. Stop smiling and let me finish. Right? There is an answer to this. I don't care what anybody says, right? Somebody put in here like 3 or 4 times, there's never going to be an answer to this, but there is an answer to this. The answer to this is changing our mindset towards people. That's the answer, right? And it has to come from what Doc just said, from a leadership point of view. Leadership, I'm not just talking about the pastor, but leadership concerning your leadership team or your board, it's got to come from individuals who work ministries, who work ministry. Like, I give you an example that I learned the other day from a person named Leah Burgess, right? I wanted to take pictures with people we were giving out socks and stuff too and whatever, right? She pulls me to the side. This is like maybe 2 years ago. She pulls me to the side and she says to me, "We don't do that." I'm like, well, I want others to take pictures of us then. You know what I'm saying? Because what we're doing is not for everybody else. We're not doing this for people. I mean, for men to see or for the church to see. Right? We're doing this for God, and that's it. And the change of the mentality of why we do community work or why we do this is not to get the points, right? But because this is what God has done for us already. Okay, we're not going down the line and checking this and checking that, and so it brings me to this. It brings me to this biblical point. I like what you said, Des, concerning Mary Magdalene, or some theologians believe that it was another woman. I'm just saying it. We know it was, but it was another woman who, remember now, the reason why she broke that and put it over Jesus' feet was because of how he saved her from being stoned. You see, you got to remember in John chapter 8, this woman was about to be stoned. She's saying, "Thank you for saving my life." And she poured this over him. She was not supposed to be at that table because men were all there, the standard makers. Only the men were around this. So who does this woman think she is? But then you go to another space and time. Now let's listen to this. When he meets this woman at the well. And when he meets this woman at the well, he's having a conversation with her where she says to him, "I perceive that you're a prophet." By the way that he's just speaking to her, not telling her you're this, that, or the other, that you're a whore, that you have 5 husbands and so, whatever. He's just simply speaking to her. And what I want you all to recognize, and what I want me to recognize, and all of us to recognize, is that there is an answer to this. And the answer to it is we got to see people as kingdom, as potential for the kingdom and not potential to your church.
Yeah.
That is where we change. And that's where Paul Graham's mindset got to change, right? That I can't see people as a baptismal goal. I got to see them as kingdom driven. And when we get to that place, right? When we get to that place, then our church will look like our community. Oh, come on now. And our community will look like Christ.
I'm just saying, Pete, like, that's what this whole thing boils down to. There's some texts that are really simple in the Bible, but really profound as to the lifestyle that we should live. You know what I'm saying? Like, seek ye first is one of them. I keep telling you Micah 6:8 over and over again, and we making it super difficult with the world and the state that it is right now. Of all the things that we could be possibly talking about, we talking about who sets the standard for dress.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When what we really should be doing is, how do you let God be the sovereign ruler over every aspect of your life? Where you go, what you eat, what you drink, what you take in, like what you say out of you, like every aspect of your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we learn how to do, and not just do that today or this month, but do that every day of your life? Because all of this other stuff that we talking about kind of just slowly but surely dissipates. Doc P just said it a while ago. The closer you get to Christ, right, which is the true metric, the more you start looking at yourself like, wait, I don't. For then we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face, now I know, even also as I am known. When Christ looks at us, he should see a reflection of himself. And that don't happen overnight. It takes time to be. We more concerned about doing. Christ is more concerned about being.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And when you be more like him, all of that other stuff he didn't tell you to do. In the beginning, God created, right? Time, the space, matter, be, do, have, right? You more concerned about doing. I just want you to be like me.
Let this mind be.
Another one. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. Like, for real, if we spend more time being and less time on doing this kind of stuff right here, do or not do. There is no try. Straight up.
I got you. Family, listen.
Brooklyn, that is not what that says.
What does it say? Do or not do? Do or do not?
Do not.
Do or do not. Yeah.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah, you know Yoda used to talk backwards.
That's what being is. Do or do not. There is no try.
Hey, can you hit that button for me, please? Listen, it's 10:40, and I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna say you this right now. I love learning from y'all, but I hate how it feels sometimes, man. I said it. Can I say it again? Can I say it again? I love learning from you all, but I hate how it feels sometimes. Yo, the paradigm shift happens when we obey God and not man. That's when the paradigm shift happens. And so again, Sade, thanks for being just just a stalwart on. See, this has nothing even to do with singles or anything of that nature. It has to do with why do you think the way you do? You know, and it's so challenging because there are people right now. If you go on YouTube or whatever, there are people are saying, "Why are you thinking?"
If we ever do this event,
hold on a second.
Where's your towel, sir? Oh Lord! Oh Lord!
P, why you do that, P? P, why you do that? Good night, man.
Oh,
you already know what he gonna do. Look, oh man.
Sorry, y'all.
Yo, let me tell y'all right now. When we do this next live, and if this question come up, I'm telling you, I'm gonna shut it down immediately. No,
you don't got to do it. Let Sade shut it down. Right, hold on. If that next question, because it's going to come up, you know it's going to come up again, right? If this question come up, this is how you take care of it. Sade, go first.
Yep.
Right? You know, I just thought she was talking to me. I was like, what phone? Parks, you go second. We don't let Desiree speak. What you do is that you bring that person the water. That you just bring that person the water. Tell them you about to swallow something real big right now. Quest, then you go. Then let Armina structure it out, finish it off. And for me, I'll be like, I'm not going to entertain that question. Listen, shout out to Leah Chapman, who was traveling. She wasn't with us today. Yeah, we love you, girl. We love you, girl. We love you, girl. Yeah, and, for those who were with us tonight, share this with others. Share this, right? Because we're not here to agree, but we're here to leave here with an understanding that everybody's 2 cents counts. And I also got to ask if you share this with others, and more than that, I want to just let you know, just for a second, what you can't hold on to your husband's joint like that. What you doing?
I can actually. That's how my kids got here, and
All right. So for all those who missed out this weekend. This is what you missed out this weekend, and I'm sharing with everyone. Take the time out to go to Community of Hope page on YouTube, and we just had a wonderful time. This is my confused. This is me looking at Sade like what did you just say to me? What did you just say to me, Sade? And if you look at her face over there, she's like, just shut up and let me talk. You see her face over there? Just shut up and let me talk.
Dr. P is laughing.
I'm not gonna lie, P. This is the weekend that the ladies really did their thing. Shout out to the ladies. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all all did. Y'all were amazing.
That definitely is a fact. Okay, but that was the picture where she was looking at me. You see her looking at me? You see her looking at me? Get out of here.
What in the devil?
That's when you said I should have taught the woman. That's what happened.
Nina's looking like, please don't do it. Please don't do it.
And I'm right there in the front saying, do it.
Do it. Yo, listen, I just think that everything is about a learning experience. Everything's about a learning experience. Mm-hmm. And one thing I do want to share with everyone tonight is that that was our first time together. And we're only going to get better. One of the reasons why we answered this tonight, because that was really the one question that there are other questions that were asked, but it sounded like they were saying stuff instead of asking in those.
You know what? And maybe it was me who struck that up with my skirt.
You did. No. Paul started it when he said how he had to teach. He should have taught.
Oh,
the
Jesus.
single women in his church how to dress.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
Drapery over my legs. I was trying to, because
but the boots were cute. The boots were cute. The boots.
I would like to say that we are full circle ministry, and you will get a blessing. If that means we have to cut slits and skirts, you will be blessed at every one of our events.
Desiree to the corner.
I just want to know, is Vince okay? If Vince is okay, nobody got to worry. Because if Vince is okay, nobody will. I was trying to figure out why she was like, am I sitting in the middle? I said, yeah, in the middle. She was like, in the middle? Look, in the middle? And I was like, in the middle. But now we found out that
I had in my head Terry's spot.
Okay.
I was going to tell you to turn it around, but it was so much more fun to just watch.
We would have had a whole nother conversation if I would have turned it around. Okay?
No, but you can sit down.
Well, listen, before y'all go, I want to just share also, please share this with others. Know that we're going to be on the road again real soon. And we're going to be better than ever. We do, we're going to take some time out to just go over some of the things that we're looking people. And I'm going to say it, I'm sorry. Please send in what you like to hear about concerning relationships, because this is relationships. This is singles. This is about families, divorce. This is about growing together as individuals. We want to be able to talk about some of these things. One of the things I do want to share with you is that, but you want you to leave learning something. And if you are at your own church, please have the conversation. That's the biggest issue. Please have the conversation. I want to just share with everyone that I want to thank you all for letting that be the last day at that church that we were at. We're now moving into another church, and I just want to share with you that this is what the other church is going to look like. Okay, just very quickly. This is be the.
Oh, that's gonna be nice.
I love it. Now we got to come back.
Right. That's gonna.
Ooh.
Oh, we could be in there real nice.
Now, could you imagine an unscripted with lights out and just that going right there?
Unscripted after dark.
Can me and Terry have a music session right in that church? Because I know we couldn't do it in this building. Can we do it in that building?
You more likely can.
Praise God. Come on, Terry. Let's get it.
Real quick, Sister Green. We'll close on Sister Green. Oh, let's go back. Somebody said the boots were cute.
Yes, they were.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it. Thank you, JoJo. Love the camaraderie with you guys. Yeah, we be fighting. You should see our text online. Norma says, I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the conversation. Keep on keeping on. We all need this. Thank you so much. Ev says, good night, y'all. Tamisha, that's my other sister watching. And then let's close off with this sister right here. Oh, she said, please come back. Please come back. All right. And here we go. So Rich, I appreciate you all. And so happy to have met you and looking forward to more interaction.
Can I say one thing, Graham? Can I
Yes, you can. Yeah.
What I want to leave everybody with is you saw how we worked through our own questions, our own issues, our own concerns, our own frustrations with this topic, right?
Let us see it, Pete.
What has to happen is that we have to have these conversations in our local churches.
Yes.
We have to have them in such a way to where we don't look to each other for the answer, right? We talk amongst each other, but we sincerely leave this with God. Because what I know happens is for all of us, when we walk away from it, we walk away saying, okay, God, what can I do differently? What do I need to change? And these conversations are invalid. They are pointless if we walk away saying, okay, we did it, right? God is doing this not only like he's pricking our hearts.
Yes.
Right? He's making, because as beyond the time is near, right? We still live and thrive and breathe and do all the things, but we are at a time in our world, in our lives, where God is pricking our hearts, not to only change, right? But to be methods of change, to be leaders of change. And so I think it's important for you all to understand, like, we love these conversations with you. We love having them, but don't walk away and go to sleep and say, oh, that was a good conversation. Lord, what was I supposed to get tonight? So
I got you. I got you. Just real quickly, thank you so much. Somebody's asking for the new church address. I don't know it by heart. I don't have it in front of me. But if somebody has it, can you just put it? If you could just put it out there. So somebody asked me who was
drop
playing.
The name though. The name of the church.
Carmody Hills Baptist Church.
All right, now Google it.
Hills.
I'm trying to help.
You're so mean. I tell you, this girl is so mean. Carmody Hills Baptist.
That was helpful. That's what the young people do. They Google stuff.
Here we go. Okay, come on, man. Yeah. Okay. So this is. I'm only going to play just a minute of this, but this is what you heard today. And so this is the guy that we're talking about.
Filming it, that ain't drunk.
Come on now.
Look.
What's that though?
Yeah.
All right, no more.
Dear future husband, if you can do that, right there, praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Their future husband.
I'm praying for the future husband. That's what I'm praying for.
Me too. So bless up everyone.
Where was that?
That was at RPC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Pastor Graham, I would like to just point out that the address has been put in the chat. You're welcome. See?
Thank you so much.
You are more than welcome. See?
So much. Thank you so much. Well, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, peace out.
Good night.